Hello everyone. So today we're looking at shotguns and what the differences are between them. Now there are two essentially types of shotguns, ignoring the B-Mag shotgun. It is a standard pump action shotgun that shoots a stunning round, but that's not really what we're here for. We're just going to be talking about the lethal shotguns. So there are two types of shotguns. Pump action shotguns, which as it sounds is pretty simple. It's you shoot a shot and then there will be you need to pump the shotgun to load the next round in. And there are two types of reloading. One of them being this one, where you are off to the side and you are reloading very quickly. And then this type of shotgun that is automatic and reloads slightly differently, like this. Now these reloads and rate of fire are not exclusive to each other. You can get a shotgun that is semi-automatic and not pump, and still have the faster reloading style shotgun like this, which is the fastest one, aside from one exception. And then of course, if you have played on PC, you should have this shotgun by default. It is given to us during one of the DLCs, I believe. If you are on console, I do have a video talking about technically how to get this shotgun and the grenade launchers. This shotgun for consoles isn't going to be as prevalent, as I believe you do need to buy a particular type of edition to have this shotgun. And what differs from all the other shotguns to this shotgun is that it is pump action, which is pretty standard, but it has a magazine instead of individual shells loaded into the breech. So if I reload just like as I would a rifle or any other weapon with a magazine. This means you can obviously shoot a lot quicker after reloading. After you empty a whole entire magazine, you will be able to, also this has 10 rounds in it as well, very quickly reload and begin firing another 10 rounds off the shotgun, which is pretty handy, but it is pump action, so that is a negative to it. Now, certain shotguns have more or less ammo in it. I will be showing the values of how many rounds it has right beside here. Now, contenders for the best shotgun. Sadly to say, the best shotguns are going to be the ones that aren't pump action, simply because it is a quicker fire rate. There are two shotguns that are like this, which is this one, the B1301. This one is very good, but it has the slower reload, but it does have 9 shells in it. So that means you are essentially getting more bang for your buck per point of ammunition that you put into it. So it's going to be 9 times 5 versus this one, which is going to be 8 times 5. So you are getting essentially 5 more shells, depending on, or however many shells more per point you put into this, essentially. You're always going to be using buckshot. Slugs aren't as great. They penetrate through walls, but they don't penetrate through armor, which is very interesting. So it's very rare that you're going to be shooting at a target through cover with a shotgun. And most types of cover that you're going to be shooting through, or concealment, like through a door, a buckshot will absolutely penetrate through that, especially if you shoot 2-3 rounds off. And most of the time, it's going to blow open the door and allow you to be able to shoot at the target, since you'll blow a hole through the door. So the other contender is this one. This one has 8 rounds in it, as I just said, but it also has a quicker reload. But the only difference, essentially what I want you to focus on, is the recoil control. This one is going to be reloading faster, but it's not necessarily a breaking issue with the shotgun. If you reload slower or faster, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, as long as you are playing intelligently. Now, with the M1014, it does have a little bit more recoil per shot. So it is going to be climbing much higher than the other shotgun that I'll be talking about. So this can be easily managed by just simply pacing your shot. So for example, if I want to take out this target, I'm going to be pulling down as I am shooting. And obviously this one has the benefit of being able to shoot a bunch of rounds quickly and reload pretty quickly as well. But you may think that this is somehow still shooting too slowly. So why not just use a pump action? A lot of the time, the quick succession shots, especially in close range, can be very handy. If you are missing a target very close to you, for example, being able to take another quick shot, because the recoil isn't as important when you are face to face to them, can be very, very helpful and can save you so many times. It is so often that I find people using a shotgun with it that is pump action, and then a guy runs straight at you when you have very little capability of defending yourself most of the time, see if you're missing your first shot, your second shot, your third shot. And that is a lot of time. Being able to shoot in quick succession, very close, is very helpful. So all this is to say that this shotgun is great overall. The only downside, really, minus it having one less round in it, which isn't too big of a downside, not really, is the recoil, as I said. So the recoil is a little bit harder to manage. You're definitely going to have to pace your shots, going to have to make sure you're aiming effectively per shot. Definitely being a little bit more patient, which can be more difficult for some people. So the recommended shotgun that I would usually recommend taking, because it doesn't have any of the downsides, the only downside is it has slower reloading, is this one. Now this one, as I said, has one extra shotgun shell in it, and it has less recoil overall. So you can shoot much quicker at distance. If you are trying to shoot at distance, it is much more effective. As I said, it does reload slightly slower, but these are the attachments I would generally recommend. Now, the SRO dot is basically pretty much always going to be your best bet. It has the best visibility, and you can, it essentially has the best red dot without obstructing too much view. And it's just a very simple optic, and generally speaking, the best one. I have before used no optic, and there is something to be said for that. For the longest time, I was using no optic, and it's really not too bad, honestly, because it is accurate enough. There is some obstruction from whenever you're looking at a target with the iron sights, but it's still very effective. And as I said, the shotgun does reload slower, but as long as you are not being extremely reckless or foolish with how you're shooting, a lot of the time you're going to be like shooting a target at a distance. You can take cover, you quickly reload one or two. If you are in combat, you don't need to reload right away. Just make sure you are holding a point, for example, making sure you are covering yourself. And then once you know it's safe, then you can reload a single round, for example. You're like, okay, it's still good. Another round. You don't have to reload them all at once. And you can do this simply by, after you empty your magazine, and as you can see, the recoil is a little bit less, you reload, and then all you have to do is press the fire button, and you will stop reloading your shotgun. So I can reload a shell. You can just click a couple times, or shoot your, pull the trigger, depending on what you're using, console or PC. You just reload. You can click a couple times like I do, and then you're good. So you can reload one by one. It's important to note these types of things, as in combat it is very helpful and effective when you're actually in a firefight or other situations. Now, when it comes to the type of muzzle, the muzzle I basically always recommend is going to be this one, the 12GA break. Why? It reduces vertical recoil, and it doesn't mess with the spread of the shotgun. It will maintain its spread. Now, on the opposite side, and this is why I also recommend taking this shotgun, because when you put a spread choke on a shotgun, it increases the horizontal recoil, which isn't an issue. But because you're not getting the vertical recoil reduction from this, or you're not going to have more vertical recoil reduction when you use the spread choke. Now, this is what the spread choke looks like when you are using it on a dummy, and you can kind of see the spread of the pellets. So here we are going to get a fresh target dummy. So I'm just going to shoot him straight in the noggin right there with the red dot, and we can kind of see what it looks like. It is a very tight grouping. As you can see, I was aiming right here with the red dot sight, and it just dropped a little bit because of height over bore. But the grouping is very tight. I'm going to take a few shots to kind of illustrate this. But with this shotgun, because it has a little bit less vertical recoil, naturally, without the muzzle brake, this is going to be the choice I would recommend for taking a choke spread if you want that extremely very accurate kind of shot placement. But I'm going to discuss, it's not super important to take a choke spread. It's very niche unless you are firing like very far away on a larger map. So generally speaking, I am going to recommend you take this type of brake. Now, when you don't take the spread choke, hostage situations become more difficult. You can totally take a shot with the regular brake, which is this is what I'm going to designate this as the regular break that you should always be taking. The spread choke will allow you to take hostage shots very easily. You aim, you shoot, not a big deal. The spread is very tiny, so you're not going to hit the civilian by accident. This one, on the other hand, depending on the distance, very good likely chance that you are going to be hitting the target. And just really quickly, you can do the laser's pointer. I recommend the flashlight, which I will discuss shortly. But on to taking the hostage out, or sorry, taking the hostage taker out with the shotgun using the regular break. So let's suppose that this is the hostage. So the hostage is, generally speaking, going to be this is the hostage, sorry. And then the hostage taker's head is usually going to be like right there. Now, when I aim at this distance, and let's just say I'm going to put the red dot on for simplicity's sake, I'm going to shoot. And this is with the regular muzzle brake. It wasn't too bad. There wasn't as much spread, and it's pretty unlikely that I was going to hit that target. Now, the trouble comes from when you are shooting at a distance. And sometimes these variables can change. And so let's say if I'm going to aim right here, the spread of the shotgun is very likely going to hit the hostage, which obviously we don't want that. So as you can see from that distance, aiming basically like right here with my red dot, 4 of the pellets, sorry, almost looked like it almost barely even missed where his head would be. But another 4 pellets hit the target, 3 in the shoulder and 1 in the face, which we obviously don't want. Obviously, taking the spread choke would allow you to completely aim very accurately and hit that hostage. But this is what we're going to do instead. When there is a hostage that is taken, all we are going to do when we have this spread choke is you're going to just have 1 pistol magazine to take hostage shots. You can shoot them in the head. Very simple. I do this a lot in my videos, a lot of the time whenever there is a hostage. Just having 1 magazine. We use the 5.7 because it's 1 magazine for 20 bullets. So it's strictly made for shooting tripwires, hostages, or shooting through glass or something. Or depending on certain situations, you might use it around like a corner or something. You can't get your shotgun to be cleared from the corner to take a better shot, for example, depending on what it is. And if you guys have been enjoying my videos, make sure to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Let's get into why shotguns are the best and kind of the worst weapons in Ready or Not. The Los Sueños police station has been kind enough to give us a little test on me. So the reason why shotguns are so effective is their kill effectiveness. Now, assuming a target is unarmored, there is no chance that they are going to survive any shot whatsoever unless it is a very, very glancing shot or a lot of the pellets aren't hitting. So for example, if I'm to shoot his foot, he doesn't have a foot anymore, as you can kind of see. Now, the reason why this is so effective is that any part of the target can be shot, and essentially they are going to stop 100%. You shoot them in the legs, the arms, the head. They're basically going down no matter what. If they do have armor, you have to shoot those limbs to take out a target a lot of the time. So any shot placement anywhere is going to kill the target. If they have armor, you shoot them in the chest, they will get stunned a lot of the time and be prevented from firing. So essentially what you're getting is the ability to completely stop a target from firing, either because they are killed or incapacitated or stunned. Now, there is something to be noted for when you are shooting a target in the chest who has armor. They can get stunned and they can still move. So it's important to note that no matter what you're shooting, aiming for center mass is reliable almost no matter what. But also aiming for the general groin, kind of where the thighs, the groin, and the legs meet, is going to be your best bet for most of the targets that you're shooting at. You're basically aiming for the groin. That's because there is no armor there. There is essentially the easiest target to hit. A lot of the time, even aiming at center mass is still extremely effective, simply because whenever they have their weapon up, their arms are pointed in front of them. So if you are shooting center mass, essentially where their arms would be, you're going to shoot their arms anyway. So a lot of the time shooting center mass is completely acceptable. Now there are rare occurrences where you will just simply hit their plates and they will get stunned, as I said. Now, why are shotguns not great? Now, shotguns are exceptional at killing any target on any difficulty, basically no matter what. You just need to point, aim, and click at a target. And as I've kind of just discussed before, with a flashlight, you can use the flashlight to essentially be a aimer. The reason why I use the flashlight simply because is that if any target is in the center of the flashlight, I know that I'm going to hit my target. So for example, I can even aim for the head and I can pretty reliably hit that location. So for example, not only does it give you the best visual clarity and there is no obscuring of your sight, you can aim quickly and use your flashlight to hit any target very effectively. Not only is it extremely easy to look and shoot at a target using this method, whenever you are zooming in, sometimes you can get tunnel vision, where you are aiming strictly where this red dot is, and maybe you can't see much of the body. As you can kind of see, like, I'm obstructing more than half of his body by aiming at his face. If I'm aiming at his groin, it's still, like, obstructing the legs, which isn't a big deal. But obviously, if you're aiming like this, it's a little bit more effective. And honestly, just not aiming at all. Hip firing is actually insanely strong. It allows you to move freely. It gives you no obstructions whenever you are shooting. And I find this to be the case a lot of the time whenever I'm using a shotgun. I actually don't even aim anymore. I don't aim down sights. I don't canted aim. I'm literally just always using hip fire a lot of the time. And it's honestly has always been extremely effective for me. And it's kind of hilarious how good it is. So why don't I use a laser pointer? Well, simply because of its visibility. Now, in really bright conditions, you won't be able to see the laser. Same with the flashlight, but more often than not, the reason why I don't like the laser pointer, it's still effective, but whenever you shoot, sometimes it's hard to see where the laser pointer is. This is a decently dark room, and with my lighting, it's generally speaking pretty easy to see. But in other conditions, it can be annoying. And another thing too is if you miss a shot, for example, you can kind of see that it's really hard to see the laser pointer as I'm kind of shooting more rapid fire. So a lot of the time you'll be instinctually shooting rather than using that laser pointer to shoot after the first few shots. As you can kind of see, the moment it kind of shoots, there's that flash, so you can't really see what's going on, where that laser pointer is for the next follow-up shot. With a flashlight, it gives you a big, obvious kind of essentially laser pointer, right, to the extreme, and you're just going to put the center of that flashlight on that target. Now, the reason why shotguns are bad, in terms of their kill effectiveness, they're exceptional and probably the best guns in the game. But when it comes to getting points, they are going to be the worst thing. Because if I shoot a target with, let's say, a pistol, they're less likely to die. They're going to be incapacitated. Now, whenever you report an incapacitated target, you get points. And obviously, if they die, you get negative points. So, for example, if I am using a shotgun, the target will be giving me less points overall. So there is the negative, of course, of shooting a civilian, of course, which is the bad thing. But whenever you are killing an opponent, you get less points whenever you restrain them. This is a bad illustration here, but that's basically how it works when you are in game. Incapacitated targets give you more points, while killed targets will give you very, very few. So in a sense, it's kind of the worst weapon to get points with, even though it is the most deadly weapon, especially at stopping a target with one shot. So you can essentially completely negate a target's ability to fire or shoot because they are either going to be killed or stunned. A lot of the time making it incredibly exceptional for killing multiple targets in a small area very quickly. Also, there is a small added benefit. Now, this target is very compliant, so he will kind of surrender very quickly. But another great benefit of the shotgun as well, whenever you are shooting the shotgun near a civilian, there is actually a level of, you can essentially shoot it to make them give up without actually even telling them to get down. So if you are shooting a lot of shells around civilians, they will just naturally get down. Also, if you are shouting and shooting at the same time, those civilians will get down much quicker. Anyway, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
Good here.